Hey, what's up, beautiful people? I am bringing you live today the topic of peptides. So, peptides have been a passion of mine for quite a long time. I started working with them back in 2011 when I was big into bodybuilding. Now, of course, back then we didn't have the compounding pharmacies and like the technical data and the research that we do now. Thank God that, technology's come a long way. And scientists have been doing a lot of studying, and biohackers out there have been doing a lot of experiential processes with these. And peptides at this point, when made in the proper way, in a clean room, in a compounding pharmacy, these peptides have the ability to really bridge allopathic medicine with functional medicine. And as we go through here in the next months to years, and the laws and regulations shift and change, we're going to have access to more, better, cleaner, pure peptides that, in my personal opinion, I believe are going to revolutionize the healing and wellness industry. Peptides can really, if you combine it, now this is the trick, you have to combine peptide protocols with lifestyle changes, nutrition, exercise, and full lifestyle implementation of shifts and changes. But when done like this, can literally shift and change everything. It's a game changer for health and wellness. So let's dive in. In this video, we're just going to talk about the basics, the fundamentals. What are peptides? What do they do in the body? And some examples of how these things work and function. And if you like this content, please do me a favor and smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And if you would like other information coming around too, please let me know in the comments section below. So, what are peptides? Well, essentially, peptides is a short chain of amino acids. It can go all the way up to 191, but typically peptides are 50 or less. All right. So these amino acids come together, and they're each one that's connected in a different way represents a different signaling process that they do in the body. These naturally occurring compounds serve as messengers in the body, directing cells to perform specific tasks. Peptides are crucial for processes like healing, tissue repair, growth, and overall health improvement. They play a significant role in regulating many biological functions, making them valuable for therapeutic application. Now, not only that, but with all the toxins and chemicals and fake food and fake crap that's out there and rampant and beating our health down, these, especially with gut health, okay, and I'm going to get really deep into that one, but being able to shift the signaling from the toxic exposure to giving your body the right communication to heal itself, this is where it can be a game changer. And since everyone is exposed to all these chemicals and all these toxins and poisons everywhere, everyone can benefit this, anywhere from working on turning cancer around to autoimmune diseases to just optimizing yourself and getting the best recovery that you can from a workout and everything in between. It's truly the next level. All right. So, who's taking peptides? Literally everyone, like I just said. All right. Athletes, fitness enthusiasts, aging adults, individuals with chronic conditions, people recovering from injuries, biohackers, skincare, and anti-aging seekers. I mean, this literally, each one of these has the ability to reverse the biological age. All right. This is truly the future of healthcare and well-being. Now, some of the more well-known peptides that are out there, CJC 1295 with ipamorelin. All right, this is a GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone. PT 141, this enhances sexual desire. And also the melanotan 2, which those two are made from the same peptide, stimulates melanin secretion. So you can get tan and get horny all at the same time. But these actually, they don't just like get you harder, make you, make the juices flow, if you know what I mean. They actually increase the feeling of desire. Pretty trippy because I don't really know how that's possible, but it is with these peptides. Thymosin alpha boosts immune system function and resilience against infections. Thymosin beta, excellent for wound healing and reducing inflammation. Tirzepatide, combining weight management with blood sugar control for holistic benefits. That one's a little more fringy, and there's some pros and cons of that one that I'll get into later on down the road. Dihexa, which promotes cognitive enhancement and neural repair, supports memory, focus, and brain health. SS31, it protects mitochondria, enhances cellular energy, and reduces oxidative stress. PDA, pentadecapeptide, which used to be BPC 157. All right, but BPC 157 is no longer allowed to be sold at a compounding pharmacy via FDA regulations. So if you are still getting injectable versions of BPC, there's a very good chance that it is not real or it's not legit. Okay. IGF-1 LR3 enhances muscle growth, recovery, and fat metabolism by increasing insulin-like growth factor activity in the tissue. Now, I really actually like this, so even better than the tirzepatide for insulin sensitivity. But we're going to get into that when I talk specifically about certain peptides. So, how to use peptides safely? You do have to inject these for optimal for optimal results and experiences, right? So there are certain ones that come in pill form. You can get them also in a nasal spray, transdermal delivery. There are many other delivery systems. However, if you want to get the best bang for your buck and the most efficiency from these peptides, then injecting is by far the best way to go. All right. Must be obtained from a doctor in compounding pharmacy. Any other way, you have no idea what you're getting. And that's so true. Anywhere that's going to be a legit peptide company, all right, they're going to have you sit down with a doctor. It's just going to be really quick for a tele-wellness check to make sure that you know why you're getting these things. All right. It's very important to have a coach or, a guide, and also make sure that it has to be signed off by a doctor. Um, One quick word of caution, all right, when you are getting your peptides, if you are going onto a website and this website has a disclaimer that says not for human consumption or for research purposes only, and it makes you click on that, you are not getting real peptides. What happens is these places, the black market for peptides is a $700 million annual scam. Okay. And it's because you can, they have websites where these peptides are half price, a third of the price as other peptides. And people are like, well, they're cheaper. I'm just going to get them there. All right. There's a reason why they're cheaper. You get what you pay for. All right. In order to be able to make these peptides properly, all right, so that there's no bacteria and no leftover stuff in there that's going to harm your body, there's certain devices and equipment that has to be used to make it clean. Bacteria, and let me tell you, bacteria and pathogenic, parasites and things like that are running rampant and are really the cause of many, many health issues out there in the world right now. If you are going with a site that has that disclaimer on there, that disclaimer is there because they're not using those devices or those pieces of machinery that are required to be able to clean the peptides like they need to be cleaned to be able to be efficient. So you're left over with these things called lipopolysaccharides. And if you have lipopolysaccharides that are stuck in the lyophilized powder in these peptides, you are essentially injecting mycotoxins into your body. And these mycotoxins, first of all, they shift your pH out of alignment. Second of all, they invite pathogenic bacteria in. So let's hypothetically say that you got on some PDA, pentadecapeptide, and some thymosin beta, right? That's what they call the Wolverine stack. This makes you heal and it reduces inflammation and it cleans out your gut, right? Well, if you're injecting something into your abdomen, which is subcutaneous injection, and this is coming from one of those sites, and there's potentially some lipopolysaccharides that are in that this particular peptide, then you are essentially injecting yourself with pathogenic bacteria that's going to manifest and grow and flourish more pathogenic bacteria that is doing the exact thing that you're trying to get rid of in your gut, essentially causing more problems. All right. That's what we don't want. So it's better, especially in this world, to pay the extra money and get this quality stuff. Okay. Because now you're not going to have to worry about that problem and it's actually going to work. I can't tell you how many people that when I get them on these right protocols, boom, they lose 3, 4, 5 inches off their waist. They're suddenly absorbing nutrients in their gut again. And just the absorption of nutrients in and of itself is going to help with hydration. It's going to help to clear out biofilm. It's going to help with the mind muscle connection, with the gut brain connection to help you think more clearly, to get your brain in deeper sleep mode. There's so many levels and layers to this. So I want to really caution you on, getting the cheap stuff because that stuff is just going to cause you more problems down the road and really lead to the exact thing that you're trying to get rid of and or prevent. Okay. So going back to this document here. All right. Always follow the dosage and protocols provided by a healthcare professional. And of course, I always recommend having a coach, working with someone to guide you through this process. And this coach should also be working with you with nutrition, with lifestyle, having everything that you have going on in your life, and adding this in as a supplement to help you get over a hump and get you back into, your good, solid, divine alignment so that you can be really functioning at your best and living your purpose. All right. Store peptides properly, usually refrigerated. These things have to be kept in a certain degree because peptides are essentially organic material. So if it gets too warm, the peptides will start to break down. And think of it like as making the links in these chains weaker so they don't work so well and they can start to die off and they won't work very well. All right. So you want to keep them in the temperature range that they need to be. All right. Some frequently asked questions that we get sometimes. Are peptides safe? Yes, of course they're safe when used as prescribed and monitored by a doctor or your coach and guide. How soon do the results show? Some results in days, others may take a few cycles. It really depends on your specific circumstances. And this is where I come in and I help you identify these things. And it's like peeling the layers of an onion, right? And we discover parts of you, through that process. Do I need a prescription? Yes, you do. Peptides typically require a prescription if they are obtained from a legitimate source. And again, the tele-wellness is really, positive for and convenient for being able to do this in a quick and fairly easy fashion. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some more deep diving here. Well, that's not the one that we want right at the moment. So. Okay, so like we said, most peptides attach to receptors at the cellular level to provide instructions for specific action. So these are signaling molecules, right? So PDA, pentadecapeptide, will go in and it'll signal to certain parts of your immune system that, hey, we need this much attention going over here. And it's measuring by what your DNA is telling it. So if there's certain areas of stress, this is what's so fascinating about the human body is that the body knows, and when given the right tools, this is like going on offensive with your immune system. Like you bring in the PDA, all right, guys, we need some white blood cells over here, we need more blood flow over here, and we need to get this tissue healed up, right? It's signaling your immune system the different aspects, the IgGs of the immune system of what to do and where to go, because for whatever reason, you have built up a blockage and your immune system is not communicating properly. And this almost always happens through toxic overload and parasites, fungus, mold, yeast, and heavy metals. And these all cause mitochondrial dysfunction. At the very core of every imbalance, all right, at the very core, there's inflammation. Whenever we have too much inflammation, it causes problems and it overwhelms the immune system so that our immune system cannot communicate effectively. This is what autoimmunity is. And we all know, many, many causes of these, and even more are going to be coming out here in the near future. But inflammation also causes mitochondrial dysfunction, right? This is where the mitochondria don't have the juice that they need, right? So what's the number one thing that helps to build up mitochondrial function? NAD. And that just happens to be a peptide that we work with, okay? You give the body NAD, it gives the mitochondria the energy that it needs, and it cleans out senescent cells and zombie cells and all these different things that are just lingering around and not doing their job, right? So we want everything to be working like it's supposed to. And aging as well, the reason why we age is because of the toxic overload, right? Because our bodies get broken down through stress as well. And we cannot ignore the emotional component to the healing process, all right, which I'll get into more on the specific issues for now. This is just giving you the basic information, all right? Peptides have various functions in the body. Some act like hormones, some as neurotransmitters. They may control and influence how the body reacts to diet and exercise, as well as mood and cognitive function. All right, growth hormone, the anti-aging process and peptide therapy. Now, growth hormone is the master peptide, which is why we're going to be talking about this here a little bit, okay? It's a 191 amino acid chain. Now, this 191 amino acid chain dictates how all the different hormones and neurotransmitters really function in our body. And we have hormones that are secreted in all of our different organs, right? Now, as we get older, our growth hormone starts to, decrease and go down. So peptides, we have growth hormone releasing hormones and also growth hormone releasing peptides. And I'm going to get into the difference here in a minute. All right. But this is the fountain of youth right here. All right. Its principal function is to stimulate the pituitary gland to produce and release growth hormone into the bloodstream. This then acts on virtually every tissue in the body to control various physical functions and processes. In addition to its effects on growth hormone secretion, growth hormone releasing hormones also affect sleep, food intake, and memory. Okay, because growth hormone really controls the cycles, our circadian cycle, our sleep and wake cycle, right? How our cortisol and our other hormones all are stimulated. And whenever there's anything off, especially at this fundamental level, it'll throw everything else off, right? As the body ages, the hypothalamus function slows and its production of a GHRH declines significantly. All right. Growth hormone is released in short bursts known as pulses. In young adults, these occur approximately 9 to 10 times in a 24-hour cycle. As a person ages, the frequency and strength of these pulses declines. Growth hormone is released less frequently in each cycle, and the amount of growth hormone released is lower. Now, there are natural ways that we can help to improve this. And ultimately, especially after we get past 30, right, we kind of need those things. This is why things like ice baths and fasting are so popular right now, because those help to increase growth hormone. All right. Growth hormone levels plateau in young adult life and then decline progressively, causing loss of muscle mass and aerobic capacity and an increase in abdominal fat. After age 30, growth hormone secretion declines by approximately 15% every decade, which may not sound like much, but you definitely feel it, and it's accumulative, right? Now, lower growth hormone levels affect body composition, your sleep cycle, bone density, immune function, sexual function, mood, memory, cognition, cardiovascular capacity, endurance, energy, exercise capacity, glucose utilization. Now, glucose utilization is a big one that I'm going to get into here in a little bit, because what do we see happening in a lot of people, above 35, 40 years old? Type 2 diabetes is skyrocketing, guys. Now, lower growth hormone levels there is a correlation. It's not a causation, but it's a correlation to type 2 diabetes. It also has to do with all the toxins that we're being exposed to and the sheer amount of massive amounts of sugar that we're consuming. And not to mention, parasites love that sugar. So all these things work together against us. So these things, one at a time, can help to really hit it from multiple angles and bring us back to the youthful version of us that we know and love and kind of miss. You know what I mean? All right, so understanding growth hormone releasing hormones and growth hormone releasing peptides in peptide therapy. All right, growth hormone releasing hormones are growth hormone pulse amplifiers. This would encompass sermorelin, GRF 129 modified, CJC 1295 without DAC is what that is. All right, amplifies, increases the strength of growth hormone pulses, but not the frequency. It stimulates the pituitary to produce and release growth hormone. Actions on growth hormone releasing hormones counteracted by somatostatin, which is also secreted in the pituitary gland. All right, and somatostatin levels raise as we get older as well. GHRH increases levels of growth hormone and IGF-1. They act back on the hypothalamus to stimulate somatostatin for balanced hormone production. All right. Now, growth hormone releasing hormones are pleiotropic, meaning that they're capable of producing more than one effect slash benefit. All right. They have direct effects on cells, and they affect every cell. All right. They are systemic. They significant downregulation of inflammatory response. It really helps with recovery, right? And inflammation. It's cardioprotective. It assists in wound healing. It assists in immune system function and is involved in glucose homeostasis. So when we have a higher level of growth hormone, the sensitivity of our blood sugar is going to be more efficient. Now, we have to also consider sugar consumption at that point as well. And if we have like a bacterial infection or parasites and, bacterial overgrowth, all those things are going to be pushing our body into more glucose insensitivity, which is really important to re-regulate. Okay, once we get the blood sugar re-regulated, then everything else starts to move much smoother. Okay, IGF-1 initiates intracellular signaling, influences everything: bone, cartilage, muscles, nerves, liver, skin, lungs, etc., etc. All right, I almost like taking IGF-1 instead of any kind of other insulin mimetic, which would mean that sensitizes, especially like metformin. I'm not a big fan of metformin. I feel like the body gets attached or addicted to it. And there's also it's also an endocrine disruptor from the research that I've done. And I personally I tried it before when I was competing in bodybuilding, and I did not like the way it made me feel. So IGF is about 1/10 of the strength of insulin. So it's very subtle. But if you plan your nutrition around working with IGF-1 or even HGH, or these GHRHs and GHRPs, you can really help to optimize. Number one is if you're an athlete, to suck that glucose into the muscle cells and improve recovery, or just dramatically improve the absorption of nutrients via the sensitization of the glucose metabolism. Okay, so growth hormone releasing peptides. These are growth hormone pulse initiators, okay, which the foundation of these is GHRP2 and GHRP6. Now, these are secreted in the gut, okay, primarily in the pancreas. So these initiators increase the frequency of growth hormone pulses in the 24-hour cycle. All peptides obtained from the same precursor of ghrelin amino acid chain. So ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So the one thing that I'm not a big fan about these, that they make you hungry. They dramatically increase GHRP6 more than GHRP2, but GHRP6 will make you so hungry. And you got to kind of fight that if you really want to help to optimize the insulin sensitivity. All right. GRPs are very receptor sensitive to dosing. Overdosing can decrease growth hormone production and desensitize receptors. So these have to be really handled with kid gloves. I personally felt that you can kind of get like the side effects can be pretty strong. Like you getting flush, heart palpitations, really feeling, and just the appetite surge is crazy, particularly if you're sensitive to that. All right, so GHRPs stimulate development of lean muscle mass. They reduce adipose deposits. They increase energy and cognitive acuity. They reduce the body's inflammation response, improving the immune system. GHRPs can restore shrunken, aged thymus glands to more youthful state. Proper thymus function is integral to the immune system. Now, thymosin alpha also really supercharges the thymus gland. So this is not just One, we have multiple options for this as well. GHRP's effects, it's antidepressive, anti-anxiety, protective of stress, potentially neurologically protective, and induces positive energy balance, compensates for energy release to maintain homeostasis. So this is really more of the mood stabilizer aspect of the youthfulness as opposed to the biochemical and biological aspects. But you can combine these together, all right? And for women, estrogen HRT acts synergistically with GHRPs, potentiates GHRP effects in postmenopausal women. All right. Now, GHRPs are growth hormone pulse initiators. In order to, to summarize, growth hormone releasing peptides are growth hormone pulse initiators. Growth hormone releasing hormones are growth hormone pulse amplifiers. So we get the initiators and the amplifiers. The combination of GHRP and GHRH works synergistically, increasing both the frequency and the strength of pulses to create a more youthful, effective cycle of growth hormone release. The benefits of this therapy can include reduction of fat, increase in lean muscle mass, strengthened immune system, improved sleep patterns, strengthening of joints and connective tissue, increase in bone density and calcium retention, improved and cognitive abilities, increased strength and endurance, and increased libido. Okay. You see, I had too much information here. I had to move it around a little bit. So thanks for working with me on that. All right. So we have sermorelin, which is a growth hormone releasing hormone. All right. Here's all some more specific information. But of course, this is going to be when you have a meeting with your coach or your doctor, if you choose to go to that, or both. All right. I know I work with a doctor that I trust when I'm working with my clientele, just to bounce ideas back and forth. You can never have too much information. So these are all specifics, but we're not going to get into this here because that'll be like a one-on-one thing. Just remember, most peptides will come with like a general baseline dosing protocol, and then we adjust that to your specific circumstances. Okay. BPC 157, body protection compound, which is now pentadecapeptide. All they did was add an arginate ester to it. Boom, pentadecapeptide. Now, so BPC 157 is no longer BPC 157. You just want to, double stamp that and clarify. All right. So if you're purchasing from a legitimate peptide source and it doesn't say pentadecapeptide on it, then there's a good chance that there could be something shady or wrong with it. All right. No toxicity, no side effects, biologically active peptide fragment, sequence of 15 amino acids. It's isolated from gastric juice. It's highly stable and resistant to hydrolysis and enzyme digestion. I'm sorry. It can be given orally, although I'm not a big fan of the oral administration. I kind of feel like the digestive system kills it before it can even get in there. No carrier molecule required. Can be administered subcutaneously, intramuscularly, intranasally, may be injected directly into the site of injury. So this is probably the most it can be used the most types of ways, if you will, in order to be able to help and heal. But the really cool thing is it really helps the gastric juices to get flowing again. So as we age as well, we don't produce as many digestive enzymes as we did before, which simultaneously will also reduce the amount of hydrochloric acid secretion in the stomach. So this can actually go in and it can break down partially digested proteins. It acts as similar to systemic enzymes, where it breaks stuff down and helps alter the pH into its mostly aligned state, and the absorption of nutrients is so incredibly important as we get older, especially when we're not emotionally processing our things, right? We get stuffed up. When we emotionally get stuffed up, that prevents nutrients from being absorbed physiologically. So this is the biggest game changer. Everyone should be on pentadecapeptide, in my personal opinion. Not only that, but if you have like a strained tendon or ligament or something like golfer's elbow or tendonitis, right? You can inject this right into the site and it'll help that connective tissue relax. It'll help it heal faster. Now, of course, taking thymosin beta or thymosin alpha along with is highly synergistic with this, but pentadecapeptide is the one that everyone should be on to help heal the gut and to help optimize gastric flow and absorption of nutrients, especially if you're really big on your diet like I am. You're taking all these supplements and all these things. If you're not absorbing it, then you're just really have really expensive urine, right? Um, BP or pentadecapeptide does not affect receptors. It's all about the signaling. This peptide has significant anti-inflammatory modulating effects. It promotes tissue healing through signaling pathways, providing specific responses to particular injury through cell signaling. It upregulates gene transcription to influence these healing factors. This really helps create homeostasis to a stress response. And let's face it, folks, everyone out there is in a stress response right now. The whole world has PTSD. All right. So, really, at the very core of everything that's going on, what this does is it tunes into the DNA, whatever the DNA is saying it needs, and it gives the body what it needs, where it needs to go. These peptides are smart. They're intelligent, almost, I'm not going to say sentient, but these are some of the most healing things that you can put in your body next to plant medicine. But people that are not, open or into plant medicine, this is pretty close to the next best thing. All right. Better healing, faster healing. Pentadecapeptide promotes muscle and tendon healing, increases angiogenesis, decrease inflammatory responses, produces more type 1 collagen. It's excellent potential for diabetic wound healing, for all kinds of healing, but especially diabetic wound healing. Also appears in intestines, bones, teeth, brain tissue, and the cornea. Works to correct both acute and chronic conditions in the body, systemic in action, but can be administered directly to site of injury. It counteracts non-steroidal anti-inflammatory lesions in the GI tract, can get patients off of PPIs or proton pump inhibitors. So proton pump inhibitors are, the Tums or the things you take for antacids, right? Which they get your stomach addicted because they shift the pH and it's all bad. So this will actually, if you get heartburn, right, it'll help your body to learn how to not get heartburn, right? Now, of course, you're probably going to have to cut out some foods that aren't good for you, right? But that's all part of the process, meaning that, PPIs are not a necessity. You don't have to be on these, right? Can be used to treat corneal abrasions. I mean, are you kidding me? Um, and then it's currently in clinical trials for IBD. So any digestive problems at all, really, it's going to help to mitigate those, all right? Multiple sites of action. It improves nerve regeneration and induces release of serotonin in the brain because, well, 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. As it's healing the gut, it's allowing it to, make serotonin in the brain, which will also have antidepressive effects. All right. The layers and all of this is pretty fascinating. And you can take this if you're on an SSRI, if you want to try to get off, then pentadecapeptide can help you to navigate getting off these antidepressants and to be free of all that, right? Counteracts side effects of Parkinson's agents, protects against hepatotoxicity or liver toxicity. It can even counteract it. All right. I mean, yes, PDA, get on it, 100%. Additional peptide therapies, epithalin, bremelanotide, PT141, thymosin beta-4, melanotan-2, ibutamoren, and there are many, many, many more, right? And these are for targeting more specific issues like lengthening the telomeres, improving libido and sexual dysfunction, regeneration and healing of damaged tissue, stimulation of melanogenesis for UV ray protection, slowing of the aging process, improving sleep cycles, and on and on. Next one we're looking at here, epithalin, all right? This is a synthetic version of the polypeptide epithalamin, which is naturally produced in humans. This increases the natural production of telomerase to help cells reproduce telomeres. Essentially, this lengthens your telomeres. And you know that when you lengthen your telomeres, you are reversing your aging. Okay. It's a bioregulator for the endocrine system. Telomerase, I'm not sure if I'm saying that. Telomerase production decreases with age, leading to shorter telomeres. Shorter telomeres result in declining cell replication and overall health. Benefits may include better energy levels, improved sleep, improved skin, health and appearance, delayed onset of age-related diseases, and so much more. All right. Um, PT 141. I have a problem saying this word for some reason. All right. This is developed from the peptide hormone melanotan 2. It treats sexual dysfunction in women, sexual arousal disorder, and to a lesser degree in men, erectile dysfunction or impotence. Unlike Viagra and related medications, it doesn't act in the vascular system, but directly increases sexual desire via the nervous system. That's so fascinating. Most effective in premenopausal women, commercial version awaiting final FDA approval. Hopefully, the FDA is not going to be a problem that much longer because they like to do everything for monetary gain, and we're just here trying to help people. You know what I mean? Thymosin beta 4. I love this one. It's a small 43 amino acid peptide found in all tissue and cell types except red blood cells. Unique healing potential lies in its ability to interact with cellular actin and regulates its activity. Stimulates new blood vessel growth, reduces inflammation to protect newly formed tissue, promotes tissue repair, prevents formation of adhesion on ligaments, muscles, and tendons, and allows connective tissue to stretch. So this mixed with PDA, oh, it's a game changer. Especially if you had surgery or if you have an injury and you want to recover from it, you jump on those, you can cut your healing time at least in half, okay? Melanotan 2, analog of the peptide hormone alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone. It increases production and secretion of the hormone melanin, providing protective mechanisms against UV rays that darken the skin like a suntan. I used this when I was competing in bodybuilding, and I also felt like it tightened my skin up at the same time that I got it darker. But I literally started looking like a different ethnicity. It was pretty wild. Secondary characteristics have positive effects on libido, mild fat mobilization properties. I definitely noticed that probably the most when I took it. All right. Ibutamoren MK677. Not the biggest fan of this one, especially because it mimics the action of ghrelin, which, as we talked about, increases your appetite like crazy. It increases production of GH and IGF-1 without affecting cortisol levels. Orally administered, long-acting compared to injectable secretagogue, stays in the body for 24 hours. More effective when taken for longer periods, maximum benefits after 6 to 12 months. Can increase hunger, minimized by taking at bedtime. Uh, this may help for some, especially like maybe ectomorphs that have a really hard time gaining weight. This could be really good for you. All right. And also the good thing is, like, if you're in the fitness industry, right, and you want to compete and whatnot, look, the fact is that regarding PEDs, right, performance enhancing drugs, you should not be on anything earlier than 30 years old. Max out your natural potential first. My first bodybuilding show, I did natural when I was in Iraq, right? And I looked great. And, of course, I went down the road where I understood, I understood the risks and whatnot. And I did it. And I'm take responsibility. I'm happy with all the decisions I made. But I see a lot of kids out there that you guys are taking too much gear and not focusing on, the real passion and love for your body and for, challenges that you can overcome with really challenging yourself to get in great shape. So be aware of that. All right. Don't but the good thing is with these, you can actually take peptides and they're not going to destroy your body. They're going to help to accelerate what your body can already do, but they're not going to make any permanent changes. All right. You don't need that stuff under 30. It's just not necessary. Okay. So, okay, here's a glossary of terms. That is pretty much what we have for the overall, view from 30,000 feet of what peptides are, how they function and operate. Later on, I'm going to go into make a video for individual peptides and how they work and my recommendations and how they interact with other things around in their environment. I like to come from outside the box perspective and from my own experiences using these things. So stay tuned for that. Please let me know if you resonate with this content. Comment, optimize down below. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one for peptide therapy, please go to my website, optimizinghuman.com. Let's get together and let's get you optimized. Have a good one. Till the next video. Aho.